You know that feeling when you're looking at the official docs for a new framework and you're just a little lost? Well, today we're going to cut right through all of that. I'm going to walk you through step by step, from having absolutely nothing to a running Hello World app with Lynx. Seriously, let's dive in.
So here's the game plan for today. First, we'll do a quick rundown of what Lynx even is. Then, we'll get our tools together and set up our little development sandbox. After that, we get to the really fun part, launching the project and making our very first code change live. And to wrap it all up, we'll talk about where you can go from here.
Okay, so first things first, what are we actually working with here? Lynx is a super powerful framework, but believe it or not, getting started is way simpler than you might think. And that's all thanks to one key tool that does pretty much all the heavy lifting for us.
And that magical tool is called RSpeedy. Honestly, just think of it as your project setup wizard. It's built on RSpec, and it's the official recommended way to kick off a new Lynx project. Why? Because it handles all that boring boilerplate and configuration stuff automatically. This means we get to focus on the fun part, the coding, not wrestling with setup files. All right, so we've got our main tool, RSpeedy. Now let's make sure our workshop is ready to go. You know, just like any good project, we got to get our setup right before we can start building. But don't worry, there are only a couple of things we need.
First up, you're going to need Node JS. Make sure you have version 18 or something newer. This is what's going to manage our project's packages and run our dev server. And since we're aiming for an iOS simulator today, you'll also need the latest version of Xcode, which you can just grab from the Mac App Store. And that's it, seriously. Once you've got those two installed, we're all set to build our playground.
Okay, time to get our sandbox ready. This is where we're going to see our app spring to life. And for that, we use a really cool application called Lynx Explorer. It's basically our dedicated playground for all our development and testing.
Now, think about this for a second. Normally, if you wanted to test on a device, you'd have to do a full-on, time-consuming native build. Ugh. Lynx Explorer lets us just skip that whole process. It's like a pre-built host app that can load your Lynx code directly. What does that mean for you? It means you can see your changes in seconds, not, waiting for minutes. For this walkthrough, we'll be setting it up on the iOS simulator.
And getting it up and running is just a super simple three-step process. First, you download the pre-built app for your Mac. Second, you run a couple of quick commands in your terminal to extract it. And finally, and this is the best part, you just drag and drop the app file right into your running iOS simulator. That's it.
Now for that extraction step, this is the exact tar command you're going to use. All it's doing is unzipping the file you downloaded into the right folder. You can just copy this straight from the documentation, or hey, pause the screen right here. Once you run that, your app will be ready to drag right into the simulator.
Okay, let's recap. Tools are ready, sandbox is prepped. It is time for the main event. We are about to run just a few commands that will take us from a completely empty folder to a fully running Lynx application. Let's kick off the launch sequence.
This whole thing starts with just one command, npm create RSpeedy at latest. Remember that RSpeedy wizard we talked about? This is it. It'll ask you for a project name, and then it just builds everything out for you.
Once that's finished, the first thing you'll do is cd right into that new project folder you just made.
Then you'll run a quick npm install. This just goes and downloads all the necessary dependencies for your project.
And finally, the magic command, npm run dev. This fires up the development server. And just like that, with just a few commands, you've gone from absolutely nothing to a live server ready to go.
All right, so once that dev server is up and running, you're going to see a QR code and a bundle URL pop up in your terminal. Since we're using the simulator, you're just going to copy that URL, paste it into the little input box inside the Lynx Explorer app, hit go, and boom, your app will load right up.
Okay, this is the moment we've been building up to. For real, our app is running in the simulator, and now we're going to make a change to the code and see the magic of this development environment happen in real time. This is where you really get the power of Lynx.
So, you're ready to see your code update, like, instantly?
Okay, let's hop over to our code editor and open up the src/app.tsx file. You'll see some text in there that's on the screen, something like tap the logo and have fun. Go ahead and change that to whatever you want. I mean, Hello World is a classic for a reason, right?
The second you hit save, just watch the simulator. The UI in Lynx Explorer just updates instantly. You don't have to refresh, you don't have to wait for a rebuild, nothing.
That is the magic of hot module replacement, and it's what makes developing with this so incredibly fast and fun.
And just like that, you did it. You created, launched, and even modified your very first Lynx application. So, congratulations. But of course, this is just the very first step on your journey. The big question is, where do you go from here?
Well, there are a bunch of paths you could take. You could dive deeper into React Lynx and all its components. You could learn the fundamentals of describing your UI and styling. You could master the debugging tools, or you could even get really advanced and explore how to integrate Lynx into an existing native app. Each one of these opens up a whole new world of possibilities.
Look, you've already cleared the biggest hurdle, getting started. You've seen just how easy it is to get a project up and running. You have the foundation now, so the only real question left is, what are you going to build next?